We all remember recess growing up in school. Recess was a time of day where you could have all the conversations that you could not have while in class. Recess is where you had the real conversations. And real conversations we're going to have. In each episode of the Recess Podcast, I'm going to have real conversations explaining students and school. I'm David McGuire, and I'll be your host. It's recess time, y'all. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Recess Podcast. Man, it's been a couple weeks since I've been on here. It seems weird. It feels brand new again, but definitely excited. Episode 41. This show, I'm excited. I got my brother, my friend, a good guy, my classmate with me. Yep. And we're gonna listen. We're talking about celebrating Black excellence and Black educators and just the whole nine. Marlon's doing some great work leading the African American Educator Excellence in Education Educator Awards that are coming up in June. This is year 5, and we're going to dive into that. But as always, man, share this video, hop in the comments. But whether you listen to this live or listen to this later, we're going to talk about the award show and just why it's important for the culture and why it's important for the movement and why it's really important right now. This is the first year after, well, I'm not going to say after the pandemic because we're still in a pandemic, but this is the first year, second year since we've been in the pandemic where they're celebrating educators. And last year was amazing because it was knee deep in the pandemic when the awards launched, and it was just a good way to celebrate Black educators. And this year, with folks returning back to schools and a sense of normalcy, man, it's going to be great. So, Marlon, man, real quick, before we jump in, man, but the folks that didn't hear you the first time that she was on and dropped the Bob Marley reference on them that went crazy. Who's Marlon Llewellyn, man? Who's Marlon Llewellyn for the folks that don't know?
Marlon Llewellyn is he was born in a rural town in Kingston, Jamaica. Family migrated to the United States when he was 5 years old for this thing called the American Dream. His grandmother was the first one to come to the United States, and the first thing she did when she landed on these soils, on the soil of the United States, was to find me and my younger cousin a school to attend in Florida. And I tell people that story because it was my grandmother's vision and her foresight that she understood that the first thing we had to accomplish once we hit these shores in America was to ensure that her grandbabies had a great education and all her kids had a great education. And so Marlon Llewellyn is a Jamaican number one, but also a person that is leading and living his life based on the prayers of his grandparents, his mother, and the sacrifices of his grandfathers and his forefathers. And so that's who Mr. L is, right? And so I'm very appreciative to be here this evening on David's podcast. And so let's get in, David.
Absolutely. And I know some of y'all can see the jerseys in the back. He's a former athlete, but from what I heard, man, he's the third best athlete in his family because he's got a daughter that's an amazing volleyball player and a son that's doing really well in football. Last year's state champion. So is that true, Marlon? You're the third best athlete in the family now, man?
I think right now I'm the fourth best athlete.
There you go. You have such a wife that beat you too now.
My wife beat me to it, so I take the back seat, right? And and make sure my kids get all the shine. And thanks for shouting out my son Bryce. He attends Cathedral High School, man. State championship last year, went 13-1. His first time ever playing that position. Being recruited by schools like Harvard, Yale, Ball State, some amazing schools. And so, once again, this whole thing, this education thing is so important, man. So I speak about Bryce so often, and that he is right now the number one athlete in the family because he's doing it both off the field and on the field. 3.8 GPA, National Honor Society student, right? And so he's beating the curve right now. So I'm just truly proud of him.
Man, absolutely, man. And shout out, man, to you and your wife, man, because that's where it starts too, right? That foundation y'all lay. So, but man, that brings us into, why we here, hey, man, we're talking about the awards, man. You guys are celebrating educators, not just educators, but Black educators with the African American Excellence in Education Award. So, man, for the folks that don't know, that's never heard of it, what is it? What is the awards and what's it all about?
So the awards was founded 5 years ago. through the Indiana Black Expo chapter, Indy chapter, Mr. Emil Ekier had a vision. He said Black educators don't have a platform to celebrate all our greatness. So he launched the awards. He created awards 5 years ago with the chapter, and now after 5 years, we have celebrated over 300 African American educators across Central Indiana. If you understand, that's a big deal. Whew. Because that's 300 African American educators who they say, I'm not gonna say who, they say there's no good African American educators here in the space. They are, but you gotta be intentional. You have to be willing to find these amazing educators, and so we do that with these awards.
Man, look, Al, and I noticed the awards, when they first popped up, 5 years ago, man. But the past couple years, man, it's blown up. And the part that I like about it, Al, is when I see people on Facebook and Twitter when they find out they were nominated, man.
Yeah.
Man, bro, it's like winning a Grammy, and I love it, man, because the passion and the excitement that people have and the joy that it brings. Because man, this work as educators is hard, right? But let alone being a Black educator, man, but it's just that joy, man. So when you see some of those on social media, man, people celebrating that they got that email from you or Emil or whoever, right, about them being nominated, man. What's that feeling for you when you see how happy and excited people are, man, to be recognized like that?
That's the part I love. Like before COVID, we would literally go out to individual schools to congratulate every winner, right? Personal touch, right?
Yeah.
But with COVID, we couldn't do that. So what we do now, we have partnered with the Clips Educators College. So last year and this year again, so every winner, they receive an email from me, and also the Clips Educators College at Marion University offers them a scholarship to come to the Leadership Academy.
Oof.
And so I started making the phone calls today, and I mean, it blows me away, right? It blows me away, and it humbles me too, right? Because these are young dogs in the game, right? Being recognized, and there's an amazing talent out here. I mean, killers out here.
Yeah, man.
I mean, some real killers, and to hear their story, and to hear what their 5-year goals are, and to see that Marion is a part of that to help them reach that next level. Oh man, super exciting.
Man, shout out to the Educators College at Marion. Not only because we're in cohort 1.
Yeah, cohort 1, baby.
Of the EED program. Shout out to the crew, but also, man, BLA alum, right? Cohort 4, right?
I'm cohort 1.
There you go, right? So shout out to Marion all around. But Al, man, when that piece for me is I think is the best. One of the best parts is the scholarship to go through that BLA program. So not only are we saying, look, we're going to celebrate you as an amazing educator, teacher in the classroom and whatnot, but now, we need you to take it to the next level.
Oh, yes, sir.
We need to build out this other pipeline, right? This pipeline of leaders. And what better way to do that is say, look, somebody saw something in you to nominate you. So now let us put our money behind you till you pursue a greater calling in education, man. That's amazing, man. That's love. That's love.
I think a great part too. So some people are ready for the leadership jump, right? And some people are not, right? And I tell them all the time, and that's okay. But also, I'm finding out, David, that some people are not even close to that line yet, right?
Yeah.
Some are in some of our schools working at paraprofessionals, right? Some are some educators will be nominated. Unfortunately, don't have their working on their bachelor's degree, right? They're there, right? So what I do a lot of times when we make that connection is I'm affirming them and building them up to say, look, I'm here alongside you to help you to meet that next goal for your life, right? I think a lot of times when we talk to educators and people who just love education, who may not have a bachelor's, who might not have a master's or a teacher license, they just need that extra push. And I'm just honored to be able to make those connections with them and push them towards that next level. Like today, I had a gentleman, he signed up to join he signed up for our undergrad program to finish his degree that he started 2 years ago.
See,
right? And so we have to. It's not about replacing educators. It's about affirming and encouraging them. Say, look, I'm here alongside you on this journey. Let's do this thing together.
Yeah, man. Because, man, listen, for those that don't know, man, El mentioned, man, El used to be in the trenches, in the schools, man, as a teacher, as a principal, right? And El, you know how hard it is in the trenches, in schools, day in and day out. And it's just good because I don't believe people do it. I do this to get an award, but it's good, man, just for somebody just to say, I see you, I appreciate you, I value you, and you doing great work, man. And it's just good to have that celebration. So when you think about the awards, man, why is it important for Black educators to get that recognition, man, and receive that type of acknowledgement, man, in this work?
I think it's important that we talk about this whole thing around attrition and retention of African American educators in the space, right? Historically, since DSEG, right, I tell people all the time, we got to look from a historical lens, right? African American educators after DSEG wasn't welcome in the classroom, right? We got to hand it. So unfortunately, most of our districts were hand-picking the best Black educators to put in their district, right? And so from a historical lens, right, this whole thing of affirming and welcoming these African American educators are important because we want them to remain in the profession, right? I look at my daughter right now. She attends Paramount Brookside. Shout out to Paramount Brookside, one of the best in the city. No disrespect, David, but Paramount Brookside,
it's all love, man.
It's all love. Yeah. They got a farm, like they have goats, right? And but every time I drop my daughter off to Paramount, right, from the moment I get on campus, my daughter sees representation on that campus. From the men that lead the campus, from the teachers, right? It's amazing, right? And she goes to school just pumped up because she sees someone on that campus that looks like her. With regards to the African American Education Excellence Awards, with regards to making sure we celebrate African American leaders, it's important because we want them to remain in the profession long term. Because our kids need that. Our kids need to see more role models in the space so they can aspire to be educators and principals as well.
Yeah. And man, and like you said, even that recognition, when you have educators each year, now over 300 have been recognized, it also changes the narrative. People say, well, where are the Black teachers, right? They're there, right? So let's celebrate them. Let's highlight them. And let's put them out there, man. Let's put them out there for opportunity to help. You know, that's a good resume builder, right? If you aspire to move into another role or whatever, man, just having that you've been recognized and been honored, man, that typically, man, doesn't get bestowed on black people in general, but definitely Black educators, man, because we always get the short end of the stick. But what the awards is doing is saying, no, listen, there's some dope Black educators out here that's doing the work for children, man, and that's going hard in the paint. And it's good that they're recognized, because what it also does is for their schools that don't see them, right? It may be somebody outside of the school that nominated them, but then what it says to their school, like, wait a minute, you got recognized, and so it brings that much needed that right of teaching, even for some African Americans in their own building where they're one of few, right? And we know what that's like, being one of few. Just getting that recognition, man. I think it's needed. It's great. So you talked about the Educators College at Marion. Who are some of the other partners that's helped to make this award bigger each year, man? Who are some of the other partners, and what are their roles with the awards?
So definitely shout out to the Indie Black Expo Indy chapter, a great sponsor of the awards each and every year. Started the awards with them. Now we have InnoPower Indy, one of the largest Midwest, largest African American business conferences in the Midwest. We have Educate Me, right, who focuses on recruitment of minority teachers. We also have the Indianapolis Recorder, right? Mm-hmm. One of the oldest Black-owned newspapers in the country, right here in our city, right? That's another conversation we have, right? All right. Then, of course, we have all the Clips Educators College in Marion. And so we have some amazing sponsors this year for the awards. And we have I call it, we have a rock star lineup again, from nominees to presenters. They're on board supporting us. I also want to kind of pivot too and just shout out to all our local school districts, right? Number one, IPS and Superintendent Johnson. She has been supporting the war since day one, right? Dr. Smith on Lawrence Township. This year, you know me, I'm a data person, David, right? So when we sent the awards out, the nominees, we limited awards. We said, okay, for a larger school corporation, up to 2 to 3. For your local school district, like our local charter schools, 1 individual. So we knew it's getting bigger, right? Yeah. And so I was super impressed with our local school district, IPS, Warren, Wayne Township, Lawrence Township, Washington Township. 100% of our central Indiana school districts are MSD schools district. 100% of them, including HSC this year, 100% participate in the awards. And then when you look from our smaller schools, our charter schools, our mayor office sponsored schools, I think unfortunately right now about 40% sponsored. Now I challenge the mayor sponsored schools to say, look, every year it shouldn't be 40% or 50% participation. It has to be 100%. Because many of those schools in the portfolio are ran and led by who? Black educators.
Black educators, yep.
Right. So it shouldn't be a thing, okay, only 40% of our schools are participating. Nah, 100% has participated because there's a need for these awards. And we're just saying, look, there's amazing educators of color in this space. Let's take the time to recognize them. If you can say you want to hire them and put them on billboards, hey, you can slow down and nominate these amazing educators.
Yeah, man. Listen, those that know, I'm a principal, a school leader, man, and I definitely.
And you, by the way, you always the first one. I'll shout out David, right? Dave in the Tinley Network. I don't care what I do. First one. Man, so I want to make sure you know that, man.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Because man, outside, man, we were family there first, man, right? Like, and so it's always love that. But El, you said something, man. Like, I can't be out here trying to recruit, teachers specifically, Black teachers so my kids at my school can get that experience that your daughter has, where she gets out of your car and she sees, Black teachers and Black educators that look like her dad and look like her mom. If I'm not willing to take the time, and it's not a strenuous task to celebrate them, to take the time to fill it out. For me, man, it's actually hard to just narrow it down to one, right? I got to be like, hey, who am I about to, I got to start going through my data. Like, who am I going to pick? But it's like, but that's what you should do. You should be sitting there like, all right, I got 6 dope ones. I got to narrow down to one, right? Who am I going to pick this year and why? But that's the celebration, man. And we got to celebrate that. I can't wait to the teacher at our school until it gets released and it gets so we can celebrate her, man, because it's a big deal. Not just for her, but for our school community, for her students. And like you said, man, we need to get more than 40%. And so I'm gonna back you up on that challenge, man. We need to push to our mayor-sponsored charter schools that listening now, that will listen. If you're connected to one, ask them, hey, did you nominate somebody this year? If they did, tell them thank you and good job. If they didn't, encourage them next year. Be on the lookout for that email. Make that email your top priority when you get it. It doesn't take much time. And even the time it does take is well worth it for the recognition and the appreciative that teacher's going to get for sure.
Well, so what I now see in the third year doing this, I'll get emails from educators who have not been nominated, like or lead or assistant principals or anyone in the building. Well, El, did my school nominate somebody? And I have to be like, no, right? Right? And so I'll put the pressure on from there. But to your point, man, is if we are saying we want more African American educators in the space, and you cannot take 15 minutes out your day to recognize them, there's a disconnect.
Absolutely.
There's a big disconnect. And so, no respect to no one that didn't volunteer, didn't nominate someone. All I'm saying is this. We just went through COVID. To date, there have been over 600 lives lost in the United States, 600,000 lives lost in the United States to COVID. Last year, during COVID, we did the award. We pivoted and went virtual. And we celebrated over 60 leaders. No, take that back. We celebrated 100 African-American educators last year. This year, as we codify the systems, right? This thing is getting bigger and bigger. We said, okay, let's limit some things. But also our goal was participation. I mentioned earlier, 100% our Central Indiana township schools, including IPS, participate. When we look at our merit-sponsored schools, who right now, I want to say about 20,000 kids, a lot of black kids in those school districts, a lot of black leaders, only around 40 or I think like 45% participate this year. And I get it. We got a lot going on. But the opportunity to slow your day down and say, you know what? I got an amazing educator in my building I need recognized. Let me submit that name. It speaks volumes of you as a leader. And most importantly, it helps with your morale in that building. And so I'm telling you, have these conversations with these educators who have been nominated. It's a joy of my day. It is. It's a joy of my day.
I just love reading them on social media, man. When people see that they won, man, it's just, man, you can't fake that type of pure joy, man. You can't fake it.
We're gonna change the name next year to a Black Educators Emmy. We wanted that big, right? You wanted that big. Because besides getting the scholarship was a big deal, right? You also get recognized by Congressman Carson. And additionally, they get a full spread ad in the recorder. I may have another surprise. I won't drop it yet. And so as we continue to codify things and think about how can we continue to celebrate these educators, for the winners this year, there's something else up my sleeve. You'll probably find out during the awards. But once again, taking the time to just stop and celebrate them and say, look, we got your back. We appreciate everything you do. Keep doing the work. We love you. That's it.
Absolutely. And y'all see, man, El dropped the teaser on the Recess podcast. So listen, El, give them the date for the award celebration, man. Like, where can they find it? Virtually. How's it going to be done this year? Share the information with folks.
Let me
look out for it.
So I'm pushing everybody to EdCom HQ, EdCom HQ, to register for this year's event. This year's event is virtual. We have some amazing presenters and participants this year. It's a part of the InnerPower Minority Business Week conference. It's a week-long conference, and on the 16th, on that Thursday, the 16th, is Education Day. Education Day this year is sponsored by the Mind Trust, and so you'll hear from some amazing educators around some of the issues going on in education pertaining to Black educators and also Black students. And so on that date, we'll celebrate our African American educators as well. So it's a part of this year's InnerPower Indie Minority Business Week conference, a week-long conference. But check it out, EdCom HQ to register. It's free right now. I'm pushing everyone to register for the event. It's a great time, a great event, great organizers. You won't be disappointed.
Man, so y'all got that HQ. What you said?
EdCom HQ. I'm checking right now. Make sure I'm right, Dave.
Right. EdCom HQ, man, is free. June 16th is part of the week-long InnerPower conference, but the Education Day is that 16th. So again, make sure you register. Yep, it's free. It's free, people. It's free. So you ain't got to put in no card number. It's free. Just register, man, and celebrate. Be there to celebrate those educators that are going to be recognized. Be there to celebrate those kids who are being impacted by those educators. Be there to celebrate the community that's being impacted by those educators, and be there for the future that's being impacted by those educators being recognized, man. And El, man, shout out to you and everybody that's a part of this, man. This is amazing. This is what we need this is what we need to push the culture forward. When we think about Indy and the Indy landscape when it comes to education, when we talk about it from a Black perspective, this is what we need, man. We're coming off the high the Teach Indies conference where there's a lot of minority presenters, right? This is that second step. This is for the people, man. This is for the culture, for us, by us. This is what this is about, man. And so shout out to you, man, and all the work that you guys are doing, man, that leading this, man. So, El, I want to know, lastly, before we go, when you think about the conference, man, what's the long-term impact that you see this award celebration having on the education in general in our city, man?
Yeah. And so when you look at the conference, so being a part of this youth platform, right, has really kind of took a grassroots vision of the African American Excellence Education Awards to now a national stage, right? And so during the Inner Minority Business Week conference from June 14th to the 18th, it's an international conference, right? I have people now from various states, Ohio, Florida, Texas, asking us, hey, El, how can you guys bring this conference or bring these awards to our state? We need it here. And so through the Inner Minority Business Week conference, I want to give a shout out also to the organizers and founder, Emil Ekior, right? He had a vision for this. He said, look, man, how do we create a space for minority businesses and minority educators and minority people to have a platform to speak about the issues that they're facing? Not only talk about issues, right, but also create solutions for the issue. So that's what the whole conference is about. So on June 16th, we're talking about education, right? And how education is impacting our community. And so I see this conference, I see this platform going not only across the United States, but as I mentioned to you, David, across the country. Because we have to slow down what we're doing and recognize that educators, especially our African American educators who are in the trenches doing the work day in and day out without no love. We got to love on them and make sure they know they're appreciated, they're respected, number one. And also we love and we say, look, man, we love and appreciate y'all. So we're going to take our time out and say, look, it's about you right now. Let's celebrate you. So we're going to call, like you said, we joke around. We call it the Black Education Emmys, right?
Right, man.
I think that's what we want. We want people to be excited about, man, I've been nominated. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're here alongside you to support you on your next journey.
And you keep building in, man, like the next class, right? This is year 5 coming up, right? And so those educators out there now, those educators that are entering the profession, right? And you do a lot of work at Marion, man. Go in thinking like, man, put in the work, right? Because you could be a part of year 6 or year 7, right? And we need that, man, to continue to build this out because, when we get to year 10, right, 10 years worth of celebrated educators. When we get to 15 years, right? When we get to 20, man, 20 right, 20. That's what we want, man. I want to see teachers who were nominated now being leaders nominating other teachers, right?
That's it.
Or I want to see a kid that sat in the class whose teacher won, then became a teacher, and then they won. That's the legacy we want, man. That's power, man. That's how you build something else. And so again, man, shout out to the work you guys are doing. Again, folks, June 16th, EdCom HQ. Make sure you register. It is going to be year 5 of the African American Excellence in Education Awards. Like El said, he got a surprise for y'all, so make sure you tune in and see that. You don't want to miss that. And listen, if y'all know El, man, when he say he got something up his sleeve, he got something up his sleeve. So
it's all love. You know that. I got to make sure it's all love. I love it. I'm telling you, man, this is a time y'all just truly love David. I love it. So.
Listen, this show was a perfect day because tomorrow, we're doing our celebrations at the school, man.
Yeah.
I love celebration. We just did senior send-off today,
Woo!
So
that's awesome.
It's award season.
Yep.
It's Black Award season. We're going to hashtag that, hashtag Black Award season.
Black Award season, yes, sir.
May 20th, and it's going through June 16th.
All day.
That's what we're doing. So this is what I want folks to do, man. And on behalf of the Recess Podcast, think about somebody in the space of education, what past, present, that you want to celebrate. post them, tweet them, put them on Instagram, put the hashtag Black Education. Yeah, there you go. Black Award Season. Absolutely. And matter of fact, we're going to throw an ad on there because we're going to make it about education. So Black Ed Award Season. That's the hashtag. Make sure you do it. L, man.
I'm going to steal that for the award. So
steal it, bro.
We go Black Ed Season. What we going to say?
It's going to be Black Ed Award Season.
We got
hashtag Black Ed Award Season. Hashtag it. We celebrate it now till June 16th,
all
bro.
Day. All day.
All
So
day.
we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate. Make sure everyone, once again, I encourage everyone to check out edcomhq.com. Register for this amazing conference. You won't be disappointed. Emil and his team has created an amazing week of events. It's some amazing presenters. God, check it out. Make sure you support it. Empower Indy Minority Business Week Conference. Register, and I look forward to celebrating the next cohort in a few weeks.
Absolutely, man. Listen, on these next shows, the recess leading up to it, I'm gonna keep pubbing it. I'm gonna make sure I have it at the bottom of the ticker. Make sure I use that hashtag Black Ed Award Season. And then also, I cannot wait till after the awards because I'm gonna tap in. I want to tap into some of the winners after the awards. That the Recess Podcast. Let's do a show. I'm gonna bring on some of the winners, man. Let's just talk about what it means for you. How did it feel? And what do you expect to do next? So, man, L, again, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody that's doing it, man. We're going to make it happen. We're going to get this posted on here. Got the link. I'm going to share this.
Link. Yep. Sent you a link.
Yep. As I do that, let's get this in here. Here we go. I got it up there. There it is for everybody. It's right there. Make sure you check that out. I'm going to make sure I share this on the page. But again, L, man, I appreciate you. Folks tuning in.
Pleasure, Dave.
Listen, don't forget, June 16th. You don't want to miss it. African American Excellence and Educators Awards, man. It's Black Ed Award Season. This has been a Recess Podcast. I'll see y'all next week. I'm going to do a solo show. I'm going to share my leadership story part 2. Those are the whole part 1. This is going to be part 2 of it as I talk about things in my principalship, good and bad, that's made me, I hope, a better leader and a better man. So tune in for that next week at 7 p.m. As always, though, create the platform, control the conversation, change the culture. June 16th, make sure you tune in, and I'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Thank you so much.